The ocean swallowed her scream before anyone on the ship even turned to look. One moment, Lieutenant Mara Hale was gripping the rusted rail of the cargo vessel, trying to steady the pounding in her ribs. The next, rough hands shoved her forward, and she plunged into the freezing black water, alone, unseen, and, to the men who pushed her, already forgotten. But the ocean had a way of remembering. And so did the SEALs who called her one of their own. Mara had boarded the vessel under a false manifest, tasked with tracking a syndicate that trafficked stolen military tech. She blended in easily, quiet, small, the kind of woman people underestimated by default. That was her gift. Her curse was that the men running the operation discovered who she was before her team could pull her out. "You think we don't know?" Their leader sneered before the shove. "Tell your SEAL friends the sea belongs to us now." Then the dark. The cold hit like a knife. Her breaths became shallow bursts of panic as the cargo ship's lights faded, and the thrashing hull moved farther away. She forced herself to stay still, not because she wanted to, but because she knew what moved beneath these waters. The syndicate had been testing submersible drones here. Some were autonomous, some weren't safe. She floated, the current dragging her deeper into nowhere. Her comms were gone, her weapon lost, her lungs burned from the fall. "This is how I die," she thought. Alone, unseen, disposable. Then, a distant thrum, a vibration beneath the water. A sound she knew as intimately as her own heartbeat. A SEAL delivery vehicle. Miles away, Chief Jack Rourke was already tearing off his headset before the distress signal fully crackled through. It was just half a transmission, scrambled by water and distance. "Overboard. Hale, Section 9. Then static. "Mara's down," he said, his voice low but shaking with something deeper than fear. "Prep the SDV. 5 minutes." No one argued. Mara wasn't just intelligence support. She wasn't just the woman who had saved their skins more times than any of them would admit. She was family. And nobody touched family. Mara fought to stay awake, but the cold gnawed at her bones. She counted heartbeats to stay focused, the way Rourke taught her years ago during dive training. 100 keeps you alert, he'd said. But if you hit 200 and start feeling warm, that's not comfort. That's the lights going out. She was well past 170 when something brushed her leg. Her eyes snapped open, dread spiraling. Then a gloved hand grabbed her forearm. "Easy, LT," a voice said through a rebreather. "Got you." Her head lolled forward as strong arms secured her into the SEAL's harness. She could barely make out the second diver scanning the area with a tactical light. The hand on her shoulder tightened. "We're taking you home." Inside the SDV, her teeth chattered uncontrollably as they wrapped her in emergency thermal blankets. For the first time since she hit the water, she let herself breathe. "You showed up," she whispered. Rourke, still in full dive gear, helmet off, turned toward her. His eyes were fierce, but behind them, something softer flickered. "Of course we did," he said quietly. "You think we'd let the ocean take you?" She tried to smile. It came out weak and trembling. "They said they owned it." That made a couple of SEALs laugh under their breath, but Rourke didn't. His voice was calm, but the edges were steel. "Then we'll teach them who really does." They didn't head back to base. They headed straight for the ship. By the time the syndicate's men realized the SDV had surfaced beside them, it was too late. The SEALs climbed the hull like shadows. Silenced weapons, precise strikes, a silent storm sweeping. Across the deck, every man involved in throwing Mara overboard was taken into custody or subdued without a single SEAL injury. Rourke found their leader trying to flee toward the bridge. The man froze when he saw him. You can't be here," he stammered. "The ocean." "Probably don't finish that sentence," Rourke said, stepping closer. "Not tonight." The man raised his hands in surrender. Behind them, Mara, wrapped in a jacket too big for her, watched from the rail where she'd been pushed. A medic stood close, but she waved him off long enough to look her attacker in the eyes. "You threw me overboard," she said, voice ragged but steady. "But the thing you never understood," she gestured to the SEALs surrounding him, "is that I don't swim alone." Hours later, as dawn broke over calm waters, Mara sat on the deck of the rescue ship. The horizon glowed gold. She felt the warmth seep into her skin, chasing out the memory of icy darkness. Rourke joined her, handing her a steaming cup of broth. "You scared the hell out of us," he said quietly. "Thought I was done for," she admitted. He shook his head. "Not a chance. Not while we breathe." She looked at him, then at the ocean, vast, dangerous, beautiful. "Funny," she murmured. Getting thrown into the darkest place I've ever been, just to see how bright the people around me really are. Rourke exhaled a slow, relieved laugh. We've got you, Mara. Always.